Oshkosh Media is government programming on GovTV, community programming on Life TV, and community radio on Oshkosh FM 101.9.
Welcome to the City Manager's Report, a look at city updates and a preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of the City Manager's Report. I'm Andy Raddick, and in a moment we'll be joined by Assistant City Manager John Fitzpatrick. As usual, in the first half of today's show, we'll have some municipal news updates, including items from city departments and things happening in Oshkosh. In the second half, we'll highlight items from the upcoming Tuesday, May 23rd, Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. With that, we bring in our Assistant City Manager, John Fitzpatrick. John, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Andy.
Okay. Well, we have a lot to jump into today, and one of the topics that folks are probably seeing around town is a lot of road construction work, and one of those projects is Wisconsin Street, and we just have a little update talking about what's happening over on Wisconsin Street.
Right. Well, this is a project that I think the citizens have been waiting for a long time, and it's a pretty long stretch, actually, of Wisconsin Street. We've been working around the university. We completed that project, and this is a natural project to work on this year based on what we've done in the past. And I think, as people know, we've evolved to a model where we just don't work on the pavement surface. We work on, everything three-dimensionally, really, underneath the ground, the storm sewer, the sanitary sewers, and you see some pictures there that illustrate some of the things that are involved with that. And I think this is a really great graphic that Public Works put together to try to make people understand that there are really a lot of things that are involved when we're redoing a street project. We don't want to just do the surface and then have something go wrong with some of the infrastructure underneath and have to just tear up a brand new street.
Right.
So.
Exactly. So this is affecting Wisconsin Street from West New York Avenue to West Bent Avenue. So kind of a large area there, but the work was definitely needed. I
think it'll be just tremendous once it's done. And again, because we work on some of the things underneath the road surface, it was a natural project to work on this year, after some of the work that we did by the university last year.
Sure. Okay. Makes a lot of sense. Also, over at East 9th Avenue, we have a project, and this is reconstructing East 9th Avenue and the utilities from South Main over to the railroad tracks there. And this is over at the Sawdust District.
Right. I think if people haven't seen that, I happened to drive past there the other day, and there's really been quite a bit of work that's already been done.
You can see it here.
Yeah, right. And I think it's just an extension of 9th Ave. Everybody is very familiar, I think, with 9th Ave, whether you live in Oshkosh or whether you just visit Oshkosh. And I think the fact that we're extending that down into the Sawdust District now will really be a nice feature for the development that's going to take place there, as well as, the river walk and accessing the water in that area. So it's really a natural extension of 9th, and I think it will really be a nice addition.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's a lot that's being done over there, too. So we'll keep an eye on it as it develops, for sure. Over at West Lincoln Avenue and McKinley Street, we have some projects going on as well. And, a lot of improvements were needed in that area as well.
Right. This was an area where we needed to work primarily with the subsurface infrastructure.
Sure.
But the surface, the pavement surface also needed to be done. There's some sanitary sewer and laterals, water main and lateral storm sewers that need to be installed, replaced, repaired, in advance of us working on that pavement. So, so that's something that is going to be a welcome addition too.
Yeah. And then also over on the north side of town, further north, Bowen Street, north of Murdoch, is having some reconstruction work done. And really, as you mentioned about the utilities underneath the surface of the road, that's really what's going on here, is that there's a sanitary interceptor that's going in.
Right, and just for people that don't understand that, nomenclature of having it be a sanitary interceptor. It really gathers a lot of the storm water, and if you've driven past there, you'll see some pretty big pipes that are being put into that area. And I guess also I should note, I know people sometimes want to access that area because they may live in that area. And I think the folks in the construction that are doing the construction, are working with the residents to allow them to access their area. But for other parts of the traveling public, if you don't need to go in that area, please stay out of there because of the magnitude of some of the construction work that's going on to place those big pipes. And it's just, it's a lot. And unfortunately, people see other people driving down there and they think, oh, this is open, even though the sign clearly says that it's closed and they have a detour. Just because you see other maybe residents that are being allowed to go through there doesn't mean that it's an open thoroughfare. So
and sometimes they're even speeding through there. So you really don't want to see that happen.
Yeah. So if you could please just avoid that area if you don't live in that locale, it will really help those residents because it helps expedite the construction work. Then the more that people congest that area, the longer it takes for them to do the project and the more inconvenience it creates for the citizens and the businesses that live in that area. So please keep that in mind.
Okay. And then one of the other projects that recently started is over on Osborne Avenue and then also over on South Washburn Street. And so we have some major work going on there.
Right. We were fortunate enough to be funded by the federal bipartisan infrastructure law that went into effect, I think, November 15th, and that allowed us, that provided funding to allow us to work on this project, which I think is also very much needed. You can see from that aerial that it's in the area of where we have a quarry inside the city.
Right.
And people might not know that exists because of just the configuration of some of the houses and how it's bermed. But that also is connected to South Park in terms of some of our stormwater management. And so this improvement is also very important for not only the pavement, but also the infrastructure that exists in that area. So,
Right. Yep. And then over on South Washburn Street as well, that area really needed some improvements, and so there's some attention going to replace that road.
Right.
As well.
And as I mentioned before, in addition to staging projects that are next to each other, sequencing them, staging them when we need to be able to do more than one, because we have the equipment there. It's just much more efficient. It's much more cost effective for us and then for the citizenry to be able to accomplish these things, when we have that availability. So that's part of this thought process too.
Sure, right. And then if folks would like to get construction updates emailed to them for any of these individual projects, there is a link on the city's website in the Hot Topics section where folks can see the list of all the projects.
Right.
And then pick and choose which ones they'd like to get regular updates on.
And in addition to that too, I believe there's a web page where we have some pretty cool links so people can actually see what, comprehensively where the projects are, what's going on with them. They can access those links, I think, to receive little updates.
Yeah, through the also the Hot Topics, there's a construction updates and traffic restrictions webpage.
Right, that's the one.
Through Public Works, and all of the projects are listed there, and you can see the details on each and every one.
Right.
So it's really a nice addition and new resource available for folks to take a look at.
Right.
Okay. Well, then we also have some projects that the Parks Department is involved with. And so over at Rowe Park, there are some new playground equipment that's going in, expected to be completed over by Memorial Day.
Right. We hope to have that all completed by Memorial Day. They've been working on it for a while now, so I think that'll be really nice for people that frequent Rowe Park, or even if you don't frequent Rowe Park, you might want to check it out. Check out the new equipment. I know we have a lot of citizens that like to go to different parks with their families, and I think this will be something that our citizens will be pleased with. We try to provide different options at different parks for some of the, just to establish some variety for people to experience, and our Parks Department does a great job with that.
Yeah, and it's nice that that all the parks are taking their turn and getting updates, and
Right.
it's Row Park's turn. So
Right,
it's
absolutely.
good to see. Over at Menomonee Park Zoo, there are some paths that are being repaved, and so some of that is closed right now, but the new black bear and fox exhibits are also being constructed as well. But most of the Menomonee Park Zoo is still open for visitors.
That's right. Yes, and I think the zoo opened at the beginning of the month. I think like May 6th or something like
Thereabouts.
that.
Right.
For people that may not have known that, and we're just fortunate that we have a lot of people who support the zoo and help fund, very unique projects, and the construction of the black bear and fox exhibits are no exception. They're going to be great. I think our citizens are really going to love accessing them. But in conjunction with that, we need to make sure that we have the path and paving ready so people can more easily travel in that area, whether it be with their families, strollers, grandparents, all kinds of stuff. So
Right.
they're working on that all the time.
Right, and also over there, the Menomonee Park Lagoon fountains over by the zoo are being replaced, and that replacement is scheduled to be completed by June 1st, so that'll be a nice new addition there.
It will be a nice new addition, and I think for people that have known that we've had some trouble with the operation of those fountains and the proliferation of some of the vegetation in there because the fountains were not operational, I'm sure they're looking forward to having those be back in service again, and we certainly are.
Yeah. Another very exciting project is the Four Seasons shelter over at Lakeshore Park, and that's moving along as well.
That's really awesome. I have a lot of people question, they'll just bump into me and say, "Hey, John, what's going on over there?" They're not aware, although we've tried to get the word out as best we could, but it looks like you see some renderings there, when we developed that area and tried to establish the park in conjunction with some of the development there. This was part of the plan, and this Four Seasons building is kind of like our other pavilions that we have in all the other parks, only much enhanced. So as the name indicates, the other pavilions are really only available in the summer months, where this pavilion will be available to the citizenry for all 4 seasons.
Right.
And it's such a beautiful location, right by the water, close to where the golf course used to be. So I think it can accommodate all kinds of different gatherings, from family reunions to anniversary celebrations to all kinds of different things. And
Yeah.
I think it's just going to be a really rich experience for our citizens to be able to access that. And they would rent it just like they would any other pavilion. But it just provides different options that weren't available to our citizens before, and I really think they're going to enjoy it.
Yeah, and hopefully that completion date will be sometime in early July. So
Right.
looking for that. Also, Parks is reconstructing their operations and administration buildings, so that's a major project as well.
It is a major project, and I know City Manager Roloff has talked about this on previous reports, that we haven't had the opportunity to really reconstruct our facilities or even construct any facilities because we were in a mode of just accepting other people's buildings that had been worn out. But fortunately, the council, we discussed that issue with the council and took stock of all of our buildings and what needs to be done in the future, and created a plan that they accepted and are planning to support going forward. And this Parks Administration building is way overdue to get created. It's going to provide an opportunity for our employees to be much more efficient in their jobs and provide the space and some of the technology that will allow them to do their jobs much better and serve the citizens better. So I know the staff is very excited and very appreciative of the support by council for this project and others that are on the docket moving forward.
Right. A lot going on. We'll keep an eye on it. Excited to see how these things are progressing.
Yes.
So, well, thanks for walking us through all those construction updates.
Sure.
There's a lot going on.
Right.
One topic we wanted to touch on as well, there will be a Oshkosh water rate increase that will happen June 1st. And, really there are a lot of operating expenses that are increasing, and that's partly why that's why this needs to be done. But really, we haven't seen an increase since 2018.
Right, and I think that's an important thing to understand. First of all, that this is just an increase for water, not for sewer or stormwater. And ordinarily, those increases are provided annually, but because we had some very major projects, like, for example, I think our Clear Wells project out by our water filtration plant, we delayed the annual increases because we wanted to incorporate all of the costs in there and try to be as accurate as we could be. Although I think that was well intended, what resulted was a larger increase. This increase, when you think about it, and it looks like it's very large, 18%. If it were broken up over the annual increases as it should have been, those increases would have been spread over a 5-year period rather than just this 1-year period. So I know it's a large percentage number, and I don't want to diminish that, but I think after this increase takes place, we want to get back to those annual increases because we don't want to provide a large increase number to the citizenry, even though it's necessary because of the cost of all kinds of different treatments has increased like everything else.
Right. And as you mentioned, this is just the water portion of the bill. So sewer and stormwater rates are remaining the same.
Yes, right. And I think, did you have an average cost just to give people a sense of what this might mean to their bill? Right,
exactly. So if somebody's average bill right now for all encompassing for their utilities for water and sewer and stormwater is $77, let's say.
Yeah.
That $77 bill after this rate increase would go to $82.
Right.
So that's just a general idea.
Just to give people a sense of it.
Right.
From an average perspective. No, I think that's good.
So, and we'll pass along some more information about this as we go along here, but just wanted to give a heads up to folks.
Sounds good.
Recently, over at the Day by Day warming shelter, which is now the Day by Day shelter, they opened their doors to a new facility, and we got a little sneak peek.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. I know that this is an issue that Oshkosh and many other communities have been facing for some time now, and I think this facility is going to be a welcome addition to our community and provide the opportunity for people to not only have a safe place to be, but also give them an opportunity to access services to get them back on the road to independence. And I think that's something that everybody wants to try to see have happen. The staff that have been working on this, and also our governmental partners with the county and the state, have been very supportive. And I think that it's something that is very much needed, and I think it'll be very much appreciated.
Right. They had an open house and a ribbon cutting ceremony on May 11th, and so that's actually the video that we're showing here right now. And they will be able to provide shelter and services 365 days of the year with a 50-bed capacity, so they don't have to turn away as many folks when they're at maximum.
Right. No, I think it's something that was very much needed, and I believe it's something that will really help with the continuum of care for folks, as we talked about, to provide opportunities for them to gain that independence that they're seeking.
Right, right. Well, it's exciting to see the new facility, and very nice what they're able to provide for folks over there.
Right,
So-
right.
Okay, we also wanted to make mention that the Oshkosh Parks Department is seeking some part-time seasonal help. So these are folks that would help out with the Children's Amusement Center and operating the train over at Menomonee Park.
Right.
Different things over there, but they're trying to get the word out that they need some folks.
Right. I know because I have quite a few grandkids that they certainly enjoy going to Menomonee Park, and especially accessing those amusements. And it's been a tradition for us for many, many years. And so we really rely on seasonal help to make those operations go.
Right.
So I'm glad that you're putting the word out that we could certainly use some help. It really is a fun job. It's a fun summer job, and our Parks Department folks are great to work with, and it really is it's a rich experience. I think helping people and families in our community. So I hope that if people see this, they'll step up and consider potentially helping us out with those positions.
Yeah, even retired folks might enjoy helping out with this.
Absolutely.
As well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So on the city's website, there is a link there, and folks can find the application information there, or they can contact the Oshkosh Parks Department if they have some more specific questions. So, okay, also we have the Memorial Day procession, which is coming back again this year to its usual route over on El Goma Boulevard, and we just want to get the word out about that.
Right, right. Yeah, that's something that I think people are familiar with, and I think they'll appreciate. I'm looking forward to Memorial Day happening, and hopefully we can get some good weather for that.
Yep. And then also Food Truck Friday is coming on June 9th, so we wanted folks to save the date for June 9th. And over at South Park, the Food Truck Friday benefits the Oshkosh Senior Center, and so that's quite a event that is being planned for that day.
Right, it's their major fundraiser for the year. I know a lot of people look forward to that. Great food, great music, and hopefully people can get out and enjoy that.
Right, that's coming up. So I think what we'll do, John, is we'll go right into the Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. We'll do a little bit of a preview of what's coming up for this upcoming May 23rd council agenda. And we have several items on the consent agenda. One of those is an item relating to the sanitary sewers, and this deals with what's called inflow and infiltration, I believe.
Right. Yes. So this is a bid to work on sanitary sewer linings, and also it looks like we have some video there. People, I hate to bring up some of the storms that we had in 2008, 2011, and actually prior to that, and what happens when we have extreme weather events. Sometimes that excess water drains into our sanitary sewers, and those are the sewers that are treated by the wastewater treatment plant. And when that excess water gets into those pipes, it creates an overload situation for our wastewater treatment plant. And we don't want to create those situations because we don't want to have the potential for any kind of backups, sewer backups in anybody's basement. So It's very important for us to seal those pipes and manholes to make sure that this phenomenon doesn't take place. That's what this is all about.
Okay. Then also on consent, we have approval of a plan for a development at 420 South Keller Street.
Right. So to give people a sense of where that is, it's where the old National Bank is. They're going to be updating their building. And also, it's my understanding that a Chipotle restaurant will be added to that area. So that's pretty exciting.
Okay. Yeah. Always fun to see some new developments and improvements. So
right.
Folks will be excited to see that.
Yeah.
All right. Then we also have a plan approval on the consent agenda for, is this for Mr. Brew's Tap House?
It is.
Okay.
Right. Some people might be familiar with that franchise. It's very popular, and it's in the area where we've Oshkosh Avenue, where we've done all the improvements with a hotel, and where Oshkosh Corporation's world headquarters is. So it's just another improvement to that area. This location is really taken off, and there are a lot of businesses that would like to locate in that area. So this is just another addition.
Excellent. Okay. And then we talked about parks before, and we also have a parks item on the agenda here, and this is for some pickleball court reconstruction, and this is over by the West Haven Circle area.
Right. For people that may not realize it, pickleball is just going great guns.
It's taken off.
It really has taken off. Where most of our parks were primarily tennis courts. I know in speaking to our parks director, Ray Maurer, recently, we're converting a lot of our tennis court areas into pickleball and tennis court areas. So it won't be exclusively tennis courts anymore. The demand for pickleball is really just taken off. So we want to try to accommodate what our citizens are interested in and what they'd like to do, and pickleball is the thing.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of popularity with that.
Absolutely.
We have several special events coming up for approval on the consent agenda. One of those happens to be the downtown farmers market that people look forward to.
Right. It's nice to know that we're getting closer to summer now, and we have quite a few special events on this agenda, and I think there aren't many people that don't love going to our Oshkosh Farmers Market. It's clearly been recognized as one of the best farmers markets in the state of Wisconsin. We're very proud of it, and the fact that it signals that summer's almost here, I think everybody is ready for that.
I think everyone is, for sure. That's right. All right. Then also we have under new ordinances an approval to amend some recommendations pertaining to the city's boards and commissions. And a lot of study has gone into developing these recommendations.
Yeah, I can speak a little bit to that because I was helping compile the report. There was a subcommittee formed by the council to take a look at that, and it really was spurred by the fact of a lot of canceled meetings. We did some research, and from between 2020 and 2022, we really had 134 meetings that were canceled. And the council relies on the boards and commissions for a lot of input in regard to their decision making. And you might think, well, it was just COVID, and that really wasn't the case. Of those 134 meetings, only really 16 of them were holiday related, COVID related. We had a cyber attack. So there were 118 meetings canceled. So as a result of this, the subcommittee talked to staff liaisons. They also talked to board chairs, and they came up with really three themes that emerged. Boards that and we're talking about just local option boards now, the boards that can be created and dissolved at the direction of the council. They decided to discontinue some boards, consolidate some boards, and just leave some boards unchanged. And additionally, they thought that reducing the size of the boards to a standard size of 5 plus 2 alternates would be the goal. They can certainly deviate from that if they need to. And then look at the boards and commissions every 5 years to make sure that this phenomenon doesn't happen again. So there are more details that'll be emerging from this, but in general, that's really what the outcomes were.
Okay. And more information will be discussed at the meeting on the specifics.
Right.
Okay. Well, John, I think that's about the time that we have today. We wanted to thank you for your insights.
Well, thank you for having me, Andy.
Okay. And we just wanted to mention, too, that Oshkosh Media was excited to be the recipient of a few awards at the Best of the Midwest Media Fest this past May 4th in Madison. One of those was for the very show that you're watching, the Top 10 of 2022. So excited to make note of that as well.
I'm glad you brought that up. I know City Manager Roloff is very modest, and he probably wouldn't have brought it up. So I'm glad that I'm able to be part of this. And this is just some of the hardware. I know how hard you work and how hard everybody works in CMR, and we're very proud of your efforts this is just one example.
And we wanted to thank everyone for tuning in today.